So I'm already getting lots of questions in our stream Q&A box. So I'm just gonna go ahead and dive in. It's so nice to have a whole hour for you.
Oh God. Okay. All right.
So I'll throw you a softball. Uh, do you have do you have any LGBT projects other than Detroit Evolution that you're particularly proud of and that we can check out?
Um. Gosh, good question. I don't know that any are available in the like public domain. I've worked like mostly in independent film, and it's quite difficult to get distribution for that sort of thing. Um, there's one film I did, American Woman, which I loved. I have a very small part. I'm the girlfriend of the main character, who's a female detective, and that is available on the director's website, I believe. And her name is Kathleen Kim Redway, and like it's not too hard to find if you just Google the director and the film, and it's a great short film. It's a student thesis film, and it is an excellent movie. So yeah, there's that. A lot of my theater work lately has been LGBTQ focused. I did an all queer Romeo and Juliet a couple of years ago, which is actually where I met my partner. So cheesy, but so yeah, it's I guess I've done a bit of independent film with that focus. Sorry, I'm not answering the question. The answer is probably not. I have to have a think about that. But yeah, that short film is definitely available on the director's website. So yeah, you can check it out. It's really good. Thank you.
Unrelated to your work, what is your favorite music or musical to listen to? Like, hit me with some bands and some musical preferences.
Oh gosh, this is going to be embarrassing. Okay.
Hey, we're all here for K-pop. Don't don't get self-conscious.
Against K-pop. I really love R&B and some rap music. Musicals. Wow, I grew up listening to more musicals than I do now. I'm sure that I can sing cover to cover Wicked, but like who can't? That doesn't feel very special. I saw The Prom. I don't know if any of y'all out there know The Prom, the musical, which was quite a big hit last year. It was actually LGBTQ focused, about a queer couple going to the prom together. Anyway, that was wonderful. So I love that musical. Other music. I really like everything. Like, gosh, I could listen to I listen to it's called like chill hop.
Oh.
Yeah, and that's like I actually just find that on YouTube, and it's just got these adorable cartoons, and it's really good to
Like lo-fi stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm not an expert on it, but I really love listening to it. I'm the opposite of an expert on music, but yeah. So mostly R&B and rap, though, I guess. Yeah, yeah.
All right, so into some Detroit Evolution questions specifically because they're starting to pile up. Um, let's see. If you could play any character in the film aside from Ada, and gender is no consequence here, who would you have liked to have played?
Oh, good question. I suppose I better not choose Max, right? Because that's not very. That's
Oh,
just
you
a
could have
very.
played Nines.
Yeah, probably Gavin, because I'm a sucker for a broody character. Brooder myself, and so I think I love complicated people, and so yeah, I think that, and it's obviously it's such a obviously what already exists in the game, and then what you've done with it, Michelle, like with that character. I think it's really, there's a lot there. So probably Gavin.
I was actually thinking you would pick Gavin when I asked, because I was like, she'd make a really good Gavin. Like being able to just pull off that broodingness and that like that snarkiness and trauma all in the same person. I would like if I. You don't look anything like him, but we could make it work.
Master, aren't you? This is what I heard. I feel like we could make it work.
If I ever do Fim Gavin, Pillow Galaxy Braining, just DE with every character played by Jill. Just wigs. Lots of wigs.
You know, pretty versatile, Michelle. Like, I feel like I'm up for it if you are.
Let's see. How powerful did you feel in your costumes? He's been wearing them once every hour, so he's been enjoying them.
Are you in my cape right now?
Am.
God, you wear it well. Oh my gosh. I did. I loved the costumes. The costumes were a big part of the character and bring it to life. And Ada's so sleek and I wouldn't say like masculine is the word for the costumes, but there's a gender, I guess, fluidity to the costumes, and like they're simultaneously sharp but also like flowing, like clean lines but easy to move in, and yeah, so I loved it because you sort of got the I got the feeling like even though I'm dealing with like these professional scenarios, particularly at the start of the movie, that at any moment I could switch and do what I needed to do. So yeah, I think they were really well designed in that sense.
It's so funny to me. I don't know if you watch Westworld, but this season of Westworld, season 3, they've dressed Tessa Thompson almost identically to Ada. Like she has so many of these like capes and blazers that have the slice sleeves, and I'm just like, Killer Lady Androids, like that's just the look, I guess, right now. It's in the zeitgeist, and like obviously I didn't know about Westworld when we shot the movie because they hadn't put out any promotional material about it yet, but yeah, I thought that was iconic.
I believe it. So I like with this character, I mean, it's maybe an obvious choice of inspiration, but Blade Runner is one of my favorite movies, and you might remember Michael Smallwood and I having an intense discussion about this. The character of Rachel is an android who doesn't know she's an android, and her costumes and just the way she moves and even her hair, her makeup, like everything is connected to like the inner essence and like what's going on, and so I always go back to that character as well, and I think like in some ways Ada mirrored that in the costume choices as well. Yeah, so very important. Yeah.
Let's see what we've got. Do you have any experience with fandom or like a fan community, like for a film? Before DE, and I guess this could be either about like a fan community on something you've worked with personally, but also being a fan yourself of something and being involved in kind of a fan community for something.
So no to part A. I haven't had any experience with that, and I'm like quite overwhelmed and like very gracious about the reception the film has kind of experienced, and what and the love and kind of great things that are sort of being drawn and put together about Ada and all the characters. But I'd never had an experience with that, no. And I it's wonderful. Like it's a very loving community. But like obviously I see like celebrity cultures. I'm not like, firstly, I'm not saying I'm a celebrity, but like like you see how nasty celebrity culture can get and online culture can get, and I think I was a little nervous about like people maybe not liking the character and not responding, not warming to her. and it's just been the total opposite. So whenever I talk about it, I sort of just say, like, I can't believe how loving and kind these fans are. They're just, I'm sure this is like the best way to experience fandom. And in terms of being a part of fandom, I don't think so. I feel like maybe I grew up a little bit before. Oh no, I actually don't think I'll say that. I was just about to say, like, maybe something about,
We're not that far apart in age, Jill.
I don't know. I guess my experience growing up was just that I wasn't that wasn't something that I got in myself. Yeah, but it seems like a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think it definitely is something that you kind of have to like almost come from that environment, or you have like a friend who like tells you about anime or something. Like you have to have like that gateway of some capacity. And for me, it was my mother has a Star Wars room in her house, and I grew up working at sci-fi cons. So I mean, I grew up in a very like nerdy household. Like I was exposed to fan fiction and like RPGs and all this sort of stuff growing up. So that was just kind of in my blood. But then I know a lot of people who just like don't even know that like that's a thing, especially because fandom is so male dominated. So when you think of like fandom, a lot of times you think of like guys who like rant on like forums on the internet or collect toys or something like that. I don't care about my virus. Go away. And the idea of like this space where like fan fiction and fan art and that sort of stuff reigns is a little obscure because it's like it's such a queer and female space, and it's like a transformative space for us to create realities that exist in these worlds that we like that don't exist in the canon, because like the canon is often so like male dominated, white dominated, straight dominated. That like a lot of people don't even know that exist, but I'm glad that this fandom in particular is extremely queer, which is something that's new to me, even as like as somebody who's been in fandoms all my life. Like this is one of the most like open, like transformative, like inclusive communities that I've ever seen in a fandom, and there's just like there's just no wank about it, which is really awesome.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, so many more questions. Joe, Joe, who is just like the leader of the Ada fan club. I love Joe so much. Joe has written so many Ada fanfics at this point, which is amazing. Joe has validated so much.
He doesn't necessarily want this attention.
Ada maybe not. I just see Joe key smashing in the chat. Big VGM nerd is who I'm talking about if you're looking at the chat. Just more key smashing. Asks, would you agree that the real villain of Detroit Evolution was heteronormativity? Because so Joe has this amazing like observation about Ada, and that is that Ada would never have been able to get away with the things that she did if people hadn't just assumed that she was straight and like into the guy, because that was like her biggest manipulation tactic, was the fact that she used an interest in nines as a red herring. So I guess just talk a little bit about that in terms of like I know a lot of that was in the writing, but I do think that like it was in the performance as well, and how consciously you approached the dynamic, specifically like between you and Maximilian.
Gosh, that's a great observation. You know, it's such like to a like larger social phenomenon, I guess you could call, as well as like I'm someone who sort of passes as heterosexual. No one assumes that I'm queer, and so I guess it was not that difficult for me to draw on an experience of like people assuming that I was interested in a guy, or like that's why I was trying to connect with a male-bodied person, right? So that wasn't. I mean, I think I I played the script, right? It's there in the script, and I think also because Ada is hyper intelligent, as all the androids are, I guess, and it wasn't difficult to pick up on this dynamic between Gavin and Nines, and to also, like, you see it in the first meeting, right? She's hooking into all these personal little details that they give her, and because she's so focused on her end goal, like, I think that using this very this tactic of, like, I'm gonna pretend to flirt with you or appear to be interested in you to get what I want. I mean, like, this is yeah, I think it's a tool in her toolbox, because she just is like, like, the outside world has all this other. Can I swear on this?
Yeah, go ahead.
Outside world has all this, like, bullshit going on, and Ada's just like, well, I'm gonna take what I need because everybody's fucked with me my whole life, and so I'm gonna
I took the floodgates off and it's just gone.
That's Australian for you.
Yeah, so I think there's almost like a. I'm gonna swear. Like, you think I'd be more creative, but, like, fuck the world, heteronormative world that has crushed my soul. Like, you know, I'm gonna use you and your stupid norms and get what I want, and then become, like, I guess, you know, in her mind, it's like more powerful, the best version of myself, and that's the programming. But I guess that you pick up on the world around you, right? So yeah, I don't know if I answered that question, but what an amazing observation. Yes.
I actually have an observation that I made through the filmmaking process with you, which was I noticed something that you wrote on your script, and it was, I never lie. And that was never anything that I specifically told you, but it was true. And it was an observation that you had made kind of about Ada, and that informed your performance, which I thought was really awesome. I think that you were the person I had to direct the least.
Well, that's right. Thank you.
because I literally, and it's always weird when you're a director and you feel like you hear these horror stories about directors who do nothing, right? Every actor has, like, a horror story about, I went and he just refused to direct me. Like, I just invented whatever I wanted. I didn't know if I was doing anything right. They just didn't direct. And I'm always just like, well, I don't want to be the director who doesn't direct. But I just never had to with you for the most part. You would check in with me before, you know, a scene or something and be like, well, you know, is this how I should play it, you know? But it was just so natural, and you had such a great understanding of this character, and just always just did what needed to be done. It was fantastic.
That's so kind. I mean, I really, like, you know, once we got a little, like, you know, once I got to read the script as well, I just, like, I don't know, I feel like I connect with outsiders a little bit, like these people who are a bit, maybe appear to be normal but aren't. I mean, maybe it's a cliche, but it's sort of how I feel like it mirrors my own experience a little bit as well, of, like, you know, growing up I was very type A, like, high achieving. I went to all girls private school. Like, it just is this sort of, you know, trajectory, and then inside you're just like, this isn't what I want, this is not who I am. And so it's I think, again, like, part of Ada's power is that people underestimate, like, her complexity and what she's willing to do, and her motivations, right? So but I appreciate you saying that. I mean, it was also because, like, you'd written a great script and you were very clear in any directions that you gave, right? Like, I didn't have to then interpret them and make something up.
You didn't have to translate it, I suppose. What kind of angry does she mean?
Oh, man. Yeah, no, so thank you. The experience was mutual.
Do you have any favorite moments from working on the film?
Gosh, I have so many good memories from that film. I feel like
This is where the boys would say, not
Sorry.
my coverage.
Yeah, but I was being a jackass, Michelle. Like, I can't say that that's my favorite moment. Self, you know?
The salads.
The salads. The food, yes.
Amazing. The food was amazing. The people were amazing. Honestly, the experience of the whole film was really wonderful. And like, it's not that like I think I can't like pinpoint like a favorite moment of filming because they were all kind of wonderful, and like the fight scene was very challenging and very draining. But getting to the end of it was like it felt really fulfilling, and that day in the boardroom was like hysterical, and I don't think I had thought that I could have that much fun on a set. You know, I think that was like my second day filming, maybe.
Yeah, it was the day after the fight scene. So you were sitting down in a boardroom instead of beating the shit out of Maximilian. So it was a much different type of day.
Okay, and so yeah. So I think, and that was like we all got to sort of I guess convene and get to know each other. Like I hadn't had a conversation with Chris yet until that day, and you know, so I got to enjoy the people that I was working with as well as, you know, filming this scene, which we all managed to make ridiculous, even though it's very basic scenes.
A lot of that coverage ended up in the most recent gag reel.
I never see these things, Michelle. I'm so behind.
One of my favorite parts of that new gag reel is it's on your close up, and you can hear me in the background being like, "It's your close up now," and you're just like, "Jesus Christ." And Michael Smallwood on the side is just like, "The camera loves you. You're gonna do great." Just very encouraging. I love it.
Oh man, yeah, that's like me.
Let's see what else we got. I think we might have addressed this on the last cast Q&A. I think this might have been asked. But how do you imagine, like, what do you think is next for Ada, like, after the film ends? And, you know, a lot of the fans and I have talked about this at length about how, you know, is she going to go back to Jericho, and is she going to go hook up with Minka Kelly's character North, or is she going to go to Kamsky and murder him? Is she going to become a vigilante and embrace the fact that she's a murderer but only do it for bad guys? You know, like what is her kind of what does she want next potentially?
Well, I think I may have said something similar in the cover, but I think like it's definitely going to be up now that like after the end of our film, I think there's going to be a period of intense reflection and discovery because she's able to, for the first time, right, have independent thought that's not programming driven. So I think there will be some time underground also because she's, I don't, you know, it's a little ambiguous how much information like Nines and Chris, you know, that they share. Like, I don't know how much trouble Ada is in officially, but I'd say she goes to ground. And then my secret dream is that she does become a vigilante and teams up with Nines and the team again, and that they sort of find that she finds a way to sort of redeem herself through righting wrongs. I mean, I see her maybe as like an inherently violent character, like maybe that is how she operates, and I'm not like ashamed of that fact. Like I don't think she's gonna become like a yoga teacher in Vermont. I think that because of, I guess, the trauma that she has experienced and inflicted, that maybe she will always be like someone who solves things through violence, which is not like a very optimistic message, I realize, but yeah. But yeah, that's my secret dream, that she can sort of redeem herself. Maybe it's through violence, but it's maybe for a better cause. I don't know. I'm interested to see what the fans think as well of that. What you think, Michelle?
I definitely like the idea of her continuing to kind of be a foil to Nines, in that she is the darker side of that coin. Because Nines is a very earnest character, and Nines can be a very violent character as well, but his prime motive is to protect the person that he loves. That's like above all for him. Whereas Ada is here to protect herself. I don't think Ada really has anybody, going forward. Now, maybe if she does rejoin with people, like if she teams up with the gang again, if she and Nines kind of form like a sibling kind of relationship and become closer like that, and even if she kind of has this awkward friendship with Gavin, some fanfics have been written about Ada and Gavin, not in a romantic context, but just them having conversations after the end of the movie and having Nines kind of in common between the two of them. And Ada and Gavin actually have a lot in common. They both have very dark pasts. And that's why I was like, it's funny, like Gavin was the other character that I would pick for you to play, because those characters are similarly dark and similarly haunted by a lot of the things that they have done and experienced. And I think that if I ever revisited this again, like Gavin and Ada would certainly have conversations, like and have more of a dynamic, because I think that that's a very interesting sort of foil. Because it's almost like Ada is if Nines and Gavin were the same person in the same body, because she's got like the analysis, she's got like the android elements of Nines, but she's got that pain of Gavin. So I guess Ada's their kid. I don't know, but yeah, I definitely don't like. There's been like cute soft like coffee shop AUs and stuff that have been written about like Ada opening a coffee shop and like falling in love with women who come in like cute stuff, and that's wholesome and I love seeing that. But as far as the actual like canon, like what happens next for Ada, I just have to imagine as well that it's not going to be that wholesome. That it would continue to be, because it's very difficult to like come back. Oh my god, these peanuts are like water. I'm choking. The dust, it's covering my throat more.
Give someone else a chance.
Oh my god.
This is what I get for eating peanuts on the stream.
You were eating peanuts?
Yes, peanuts.
Oh my gosh. I was eating Easter eggs until the minute before you opened this meeting.
Chocolate Easter eggs?
Of course. I'm a little late to Easter, but it's, is there like a time limit on eating Easter eggs? I don't think so.
No, especially not the Reese's ones. He hates them, but I love them. Let's see what else we got. What is your favorite genre of film to work in? Or this could apply to theater as well, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. Genre of film. I guess there's like two answers to this. I really love like intimate sort of small stories that are just like people focused, driven by people and relationships and family, place and time. So I love that. I also kind of am a sucker for a thriller and a murder mystery, but I haven't really worked in that except for like, maybe like Detroit, you could sort of say is in that vein. And I did a very, an indie film, I guess maybe just before Detroit, filmed in the middle of nowhere in Buffalo or in like that, in that area. And it was about these two, this couple, these two women, or actually my other actor was genderqueer. And so they were a couple and they were sort of like haunted by this mysterious presence in the woods of Buffalo. And it was super, super strange and very Blair Witch Project. And but I love that because like, and maybe it's like as a viewer, it's like confusing and a little like too avant-garde, but I kind of love that where you don't have all the answers and it's more of a visceral experience. Like I started in avant-garde theater, physical theater, so I love the kind of unknown and leaving an audience with like maybe more questions and answers and more of an experience as opposed to a story that's sort of been like laid out really neatly for them. And I also love that. I also love a clear narrative. So it's not love a clear narrative. So yeah, I guess those are my two, like really small, intimate stories, and then also like stuff that's kind of weird and out there and doesn't make a lot of sense. Yeah.
Doyle Winchester in the chat asked, and I might transition with this a little bit. Would you ever be in a horror or a superhero movie? I want to point out that Jill was in a significant horror project called Hell House LLC. 2, very, very, very briefly in 3, but literally the lead of Hell House LLC 2. If you guys don't know this is a really cool found footage series that's on Shudder. I think you can rent it as well, a la carte, like on Amazon and stuff. This is a series that I knew about before I met Jill, because Hell House LLC is a found footage movie. It, as somebody who's also made a found footage feature, I have watched many of them, and that was one of the definitely like up there ones as far as quality goes and scares. And so I definitely encourage you guys to check that out, because I know that you had a good experience shooting it, in addition to the film being very strong.
Thank you. Yeah, they're good. They're good people. The Hell House people. Yeah, they're really fun.
But the other side of that question was, would you ever be in a superhero movie? So, like, if Marvel came knocking and was like, "Hey, Jill, we want to cast you as Squirrel Girl."
Squirrel Girl, did you say?
Squirrel Girl.
Ooh, okay. Yes. Oh, would I do it? Only if she could be a queer squirrel.
I'm here for it.
I assume she is.
I would feel like you would have to be.
Squirrels are queer. I don't know. I mean, of course. I mean, like the thing with Marvel is like it's such an insane opportunity. Like, these movies have a huge following and are loved by many. So of course, I would say yes. But I would definitely, genuinely like to see less. Actually, and I'll say this: I'm not a Marvel expert in any way. I could be wrong about this, but I feel like maybe they are pretty limited with their representation of queer characters, and they could do better with people of color as well. Just in terms of diversifying that whole canon, I think they have the power to make really interesting choices. And yeah, Squirrel Girl gotta be gay. That's all I'm saying.
That's a quote from this stream, if there ever was one. Oh, they say they imagine you as Spider Woman. I could see that. I could see a Spider Gwen. Absolutely, because they are doing a Spider Gwen. A petition for Jill as Captain Marvel's superhero girlfriend. Captain Marvel needs a girlfriend for sure.
Right. Yes. I'm here for it. I am available.
I mean, I know they said because of that fight scene, you would kick ass in a superhero movie, and I think we talked about before we shot DE about whether or not you had stage combat experience and your comfort level with that and everything. And I don't remember what you said. I don't remember if you said that you had ever done that level of combat in a film before.
No, not that level. And I honestly as I said, I was in physical theater. I keep myself pretty fit, as does Max. But that's a different kind of fitness, that's a specific kind of training. And we were so lucky to get a full day with Christian and to sort of be, I think, as prepared as we could be. But I was sore.
I remember that.
doing the actual filming, I was already sore, and it's like, I guess when you have more time, or like if I knew I was coming into a shoot like that, I would try and probably like focus my training in a different way and like use my muscles differently, because like I run a lot, and that's like not useful in that. It didn't really matter. So, but I mean, it was great. It made me want to like do more of that kind of thing, and do it more, do better. Yeah. So thanks. Yes, Marvel, I will do it. Yes.
I have a question I'm actually curious about. So I know you've lived in the U.S. for many, many years now, so you hear us every day. But your American accent is extremely strong, and you can turn it on and off really easily. How long did it take you in terms of like being a performer to really perfect that? And what are some of the secrets that you have, and some of the tips that you've trained yourself with to achieve that really flawless American accent?
Well, thank you. That's really kind of you to say that. One thing to know is that like in Australia, we grow up with like a lot of American television, right? So and most of the movies that I'm seeing in the cinema growing up, it's all American. And I think I have, I'm also lucky I have a good ear for accents. And so that combination of like being exposed to it over and over again, and in my family, quoting movies is like a big thing. And so, we quote all the time, but we're always doing the accent. And so when I came over here to study, I knew that was going to be like my weakness, right? Was that I had to sound like legitimately American if I wanted to be cast in American roles. And so I really focused on it, and I studied really hard. We took like voice and speech at school for 2 years, and I just worked really hard at it. I don't know what else to say. My personal hint is I always learn my lines in the accent that I will say them. So I don't learn it in my Australian accent. I'll learn it from the get-go in an American accent, because it can get difficult once you've got it in your head to then change it. Yeah, and there's always words that I struggle with. Like, we're lucky that I didn't have to say the word girlfriend, because that's a really hard word for me to say. I like swallow the end of the word, and it just sounds like I'm choking. It's really funny, but so maybe I was just lucky because the script didn't have any of these words that always trip me up in it.
The one that I have you on camera referencing was effort, trying to hit the R.
Yeah, because like you'll say you big difference is that you hit these R's, right? And if that's your natural kind of where it lands, whereas we don't say those at all. So that is the one that I'll like at the start of the word, but then the ending will be like effort. And then you go too far, and then so it's just practice, and I think I was lucky because I came off a film where I was last minute told I had to do an American accent.
Oof.
So actually, I think it's probably not very good in that film, but then I'd be like working in it for, this whole production before I came to Charleston. So I was warmed up, but I'm pretty terrible at other films. Oh, no. Oh, well.
The chat is funny. Mimicking films, mimicking songs. That's how they learn to pick it up. A lot of these folks in the chat are Australian or British or European themselves. Imagine Ada saying, "Girlfriend, please."
It'd be a nightmare. I don't know why. That's always a tough one for me. Yeah.
And somebody asked, how many accents can you do?
I mean, I can train myself to do them. So some are easier than others. When I was in school, I had to do I played like an 80-year-old Irish grandmother. I was like, you know, because I was such, like, so ridiculous. But, like, but I was like, I'm going to do the best job I can. And so I really committed and I worked really hard, and like the physical body and the accent. I'm lucky because I had to work for like 7, maybe 8 weeks in this accent.
Oh, wow.
I can do an Irish accent pretty easily. It's not that specific. Like, Ireland has a lot of different.
It's old Irish.
Old person Irish, no. But yeah.
Just a wee little thing.
Is that your Irish accent?
It's the only accent I can even. Everything I ever do turns Irish.
Oh, sure. Oh, so you'll be like Russian and then you're Irish.
Yes. Russian will turn Irish. French turns Irish. Australian turns Irish.
No. That's okay. That's okay. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, the British is quite easy for me. But again, you know, there's so many nuances in these accents. Like, I'd have to work hard to get specific, right? So, but yeah, I think that's it. I worked in a German accent once. That was fun. I did cabaret, so yeah, it was great. I love the German accent.
I feel like any ESL language or accent has to be difficult because, you know, we can kind of put our own spin on, you know, if you're a native English speaker, you know, going British, Irish, Scottish, Canadian, you know, Southern American, Northern American, you know, West Coast, East Coast. That's all just like, we're still, you know, talking in our native language, but trying to get the nuance of how would you pronounce these words if this was not your native language? And like, how do you lean on the pronunciation, the syllables of, you know, translating like a Spanish accent into English has got to be one of the hardest things.
Totally. And I think that's why, like, probably a lot of English speaking, doing accents, like, a lot of the time it's probably like people who are native speakers of that country probably have a different take on that as well. You know, I fully respect the fact that we're all just like trying, probably not cheating a lot of the time. But yeah, it's fun. It's a lot of fun. It's a part of the character, right? Like the accent, the voice.
I have a question from Doyle Winchester. I think I might know your answer to this, actually. If you were to be stuck in any fictional world, which one would you like to be stuck in?
What's your answer, Michelle?
Well, I don't know if this would be a fun world to be stuck in, but I know you love Lord of the Rings. I do.
Yes. That's a good answer. That's a really good answer.
Is it though? Would you want to be in Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, maybe like
timeline.
series, you know, like before the war and after the war. No, that or like maybe Harry Potter, because those are my two biggest, like, I guess, fantasy sort of pillars, I guess. I also read this amazing series when I was younger by Tamora Pierce.
Oh, yeah. The Magic Circle or whatever it was called.
Yeah, I read maybe like, 20 of her books or something. She had like different series, but they were all really wonderfully interconnected over like, you know, maybe like hundreds of years, and then different characters and places, and they would all come together in these amazing ways. So that's probably the other world that I wouldn't mind being stuck in. It's like knights and magic and, yeah, pretty cool stuff.
And now that you mention Harry Potter, I know that we've all agreed that Harry Potter was mysteriously written by an anonymous person now. We don't know who wrote it, you know. But all that being said, do you know your Hogwarts house? Because I don't think I've ever asked you that.
So I did a test once, and I think it came back like couldn't place me or Slytherin. I
couldn't place me or Slytherin. Oh, that's hysterical.
Little unsure. Yeah, I could probably see myself as either like, you know, I'm a Gemini, so it's sort of that thing of like, depends on the day, right? So I can totally see myself falling into either like Gryffindor or maybe Ravenclaw. I don't know that I'm like Slytherin material. Jill, not Ada, maybe Ada is, but I think it was like couldn't quite figure it out. But I did one test, Michelle. I wasn't that committed.
Some people are very divergent and don't really fall neatly into any like categories. Like Austin is one where I don't think that there's any real strong like, oh, you're obviously like this alignment. I feel like you're like half Slytherin, half Ravenclaw, like right down the middle. So it's kind of unhelpful and meaningless.
Like many labels.
Well, and he's a Libra, so same thing on the it changes day to day.
It doesn't change. It's just always like
indecision. It's constant indecision. Yes. Personally, I'm a Gryffindor very strongly. So very strong Gryffindor.
I'm a Libra envy. What do you want?
A Libra envy. Yes, that's just. And you can never pick where to eat, ever.
That's because you don't like my choices.
You never pick a restaurant. This is a cute question from Dressed Up Geek. Was it hard wearing a white outfit where it might get dirty? I can answer that because on the first day when you were wearing the white shirt, when you're rolling around on the warehouse floor, it was kind of meant to get dirty for continuity's sake because we shot it in order. So, and then the Jericho location wasn't too bad. We have about time for one more before we wrap up and move on to the final hour. So Jill, we have raised $8,700 so far for GaymerX. Our goal at the beginning of the day was $2,000. Our ultimate final milestone is $10,000. If they raise $10,000 by 7 p.m., I will shave the side of my head. So that's what they're jonesing for. It's a look. But yeah, we've got about $1,300 till 10K. So yeah, throw that Tiltify link and hit up the charity and donate to GaymerX for LGBT game development. They're going to be really happy with this. But that aside, let's think about one more question. I got some in the box here. Kind of already answered something similar to that, so we'll skip that one. But we had milestones all day, and one of the milestones was I will tell you about the Read 900 fanfic that I wrote in 2018, before Detroit Awakening was even a thing, before anybody knew who I was. I revealed the identity of the fanfic, so the last hour of the stream is a live reading of it. So anybody, if you want to stick around for that, feel free. Maybe you can read Gavin's lines if you want and be Gavin. And then anybody who was previously on the stream, I said, you could come back and witness that. But yeah, so that's the last hour of this stream. Let's see, get rid of that one. I think this is a good note to end on from Sydney Eliza. And we've kind of talked about this already, but it's a good one. How do you feel about the fact that there are people who have latched onto Ada and heavily related to her, and she's kind of become this, I don't know if role model is the right word, but a comfort character and a character that people can really see themselves in?
I love that. I love that. That makes me super happy because I wasn't sure at all that would be the case. Like, so, as a person, as an actor, I'm like really thrilled to see that and have that. I also think that like the female villain is we don't see that a lot, and when we do, like, she's often hypersexualized, and it's I kind of love that. I mean, we did talk about, Ada sort of uses a little bit of sexuality to get what she wants, but like ultimately, like, she's so driven, she's complicated, she's independent. I think there's like, I know we said role model's a weird word for it, but there's a lot of things to admire in this person, I think, in this character. So I love that. And it just, every time I see a drawing or a cosplay video, those are insane, by the way. Like, I don't even know how to use TikTok. I don't have, what am I watching? So, I'm very impressed always. But, yeah, so I like, you can't ask for more as an actor, right? Than people enjoying and wanting to like imagine what happens to this character afterwards and like relive these moments. And yeah, and I think that's what's so great about the character you've written, Michelle, is that like you really can imagine this whole other world and trajectory for Ada, but you also like kind of wanted to come back into the fold because there's unfinished business there. And so I just yeah, this is a long answer, but yeah, I love it. Be really happy. I couldn't ask for anything and more. And I'm queer. I'm here for the queers, and I just like, I never expected to find this kind of I guess support and love. I'm not used to that, so it's yeah, and for those reasons, right? So it's very validating, and so I thank you all very much for that. And you, Michelle, for this movie that I love.
And I'm in awe of the cosplayers as well. As Ada, I believe, from just what I've seen over the past 2 months, seems to be the most cosplayed character of this film, which is absolutely incredible. And as the writer of her, I agree with you a lot that you get self-conscious about writing a female character in general, especially when it's like, everybody's kind of here for these two guys and their relationship. Are they going to feel like this woman is just like, they don't care about her, they get her out of the way? Like, people can be very, very unaccommodating, especially for original characters in a fandom piece. Like, she's just a Mary Sue, she's a self-insert, whatever. And the fact that she has been so embraced and so, people see her as one of the characters, like, on an equal level to, like, Read 900 and Chris and Tina. People write fan fiction just about her that has nothing to do with Read 900 at all. Like, they're just, like, they give her own stories. I never could have imagined that even before this, and I was very worried about, like, how she would be. And as your director, it's like even more nerve-wracking because it's just like, I know in the back of my head that this could happen. I was like, Jill deserves so much better. Like, please be nice to Jill. Like, this character is great. Like, please don't be mean. Like, and no, they were just nothing but welcoming and nothing but loving, and just absolutely have accepted this character wholeheartedly. And so thank you guys in the chat and everybody in the community, like, watching this later on YouTube and stuff, because you're the ones that made that happen. Never throw shade at Ada, ever. She'll throw it back.
I love that.
Well, thank you so much, Jill, for joining us for this Q&A. We will have to do this again. I love this. You're just such a joy to be around. And there'll be many more in the future, I'm sure.